So what's your perfect EuroLeague Christmas Day schedule?
No games.
Okay, let's say there are no NBA games, no NFL, nothing.
Okay, but first of all, I have to say this, and then I can tell you what would be my perfect game week or something. First of all, I think it's unnecessary for EuroLeague to play on Christmas, because you play on Christmas when you are a profitable league and it makes you a lot of money. Now, this sort of thing to play on Christmas is just for the idea that we have festive games, but it's not like it brings you extra revenue. It's not like the fans need it that much. I know that there are some teams from countries that don't even celebrate Christmas, so they don't care about it as much, but they have a lot of players, let's say, from the States. They do celebrate, they want to be with their families. So at the moment, we don't need it at all. If EuroLeague at some point becomes like a really profitable league with great TV deals, revenue, merchandise sales and all that stuff, then you can market the Christmas Day as something special for the people. But not today, not right now. However, for me, as a casual EuroLeague fan, there are definitely some games I would love to watch. Not the ones they've chosen, definitely, because this is really a poor round of games so far. By the way, you need at least one derby. I would pick the Greek derby.
I'm just thinking,
I wouldn't put derby
rivalry on a Christmas Day?
Because of the extra police forces?
Yeah. It's not very festive setting.
I would go
It's a great game for sure. But maybe, Panathinaikos hosting, I don't know.
Okay, so
Partizan,
let's have
Fenerbahce,
a friendlier rivalry.
Yeah,
let's have an El Clasico. Nothing bad happens in El Clasico.
Let's go Monaco Olympiacos. Like a rivalry in a couple that's been building in a couple of years. In Piraeus,
could be one of the games.
Let's have
Panathinaikos Partizan.
That's great. That would be a great game. Like,
they're actually going to play in Australia before the next season, so they kind of already have some connections,
Yeah. Put the Italian derby out there. Although it would be really weird, because like in Italy for 2 days everything is closed.
Okay.
So that would be weird, and even Andrea Trinchieri was like asked about this playing on Christmas before the game, and he's like, it's weird for me because in Italy it's the Christmas is super important for us, and everything is closed for 2 days. They celebrate with families, and he ducked that question, let's say. He just said this, that you know how it goes in Italy, and then he proceeded to talk about the game. It is how it is. We have to play.
I don't care that much about Italian derby, honestly. We can,
but
okay, just
we
for
need
the
at least
entertainment
4
purpose,
solid games.
Just for the entertainment purpose, when you're scheduling before the season, you cannot know, but now we know how fun it is to watch Paris basketball face Bayern Munich. So I would definitely watch that game.
Yeah, it could be easily one of those few games. But my problem, I actually felt bad for Žalgiris guys. I mean, for a lot of teams traveling on a Christmas day to play on the second Christmas day, because at least EuroLeague did something about those Christmas Day games. Let's say created some special jersey, or let's say try to inspire teams to do something special from the marketing standpoint, and also to make this round very, very special. I didn't see anything on social media, anything like exceptional, no added stuff, no extra that would make me feel like, oh, this is EuroLeague Christmas Day. This is EuroLeague Christmas game, special edition. Let's watch, let's celebrate, let's enjoy it together with basketball. They didn't do nothing. So that's what makes me feel that it was just a coincidence that this calendar clashed with the Christmas. Yeah. And another thing that personally I was pissed about, that the transfer deadline between the EuroLeague teams was actual Christmas Day. So all the GMs, decision makers, reporters, including myself, we had to do a lot of stuff just tracking if there will be any movement between the teams or not. So, I mean, you don't do that. I mean, there's the reason why the NBA trade deadline was also changed due to the All-Star weekend, because I think it was clashing also previously in a lot of years before. So, I mean, you have to do something about it if it clashes those big days. But anyways, we cannot I believe we're going to talk about more positive stuff on this podcast. We have some bold predictions for 2025. We're going to rate last-minute transfers between the EuroLeague teams. We have the EuroLeague mid-season awards, players voting, but also we're having this podcast following a couple of solid games from this so Christmas schedule. Olympiacos Milan was the last minute drama. Augustas, do you have any thoughts about that match?
My first thought is about that last possession from Milano. And Ritis, you did not see the game, right? There was so Milano are down 1 after the missed shot by Olympiacos. Down 1, 17 seconds left. And there is on the court, there is Mirotic, Shields, Nico Mannion, Zach Lide, and Leandro Bolmaro. Who do you think is playing one-on-one to save the match, to win the match for Milano?
Who do I think is playing, or who I would prefer to play?
Okay, first, who would you prefer to have?
Because when you put the question this way, it has to be Bolmaro probably.
Exactly.
But who I would prefer is...
No, give me the order of what you would prefer.
The order of merit. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, if it's Mirotic, you either create a set for him or it's a low post situation. So it depends on the opponent. The opponent is Olympiacos.
They were playing with...
They had Peters and Vezenkov.
In the post. Mm-hmm. They were playing because Milutinov was out.
Okay, I still prefer my perimeter players to have the last possession. So my number one choice is Siobhan Shields. Because of his size, because of his shot-making ability, he can make difficult fadeaway shots.
He made some layups right before in the last
Siobhan
couple of minutes.
Shields is my number one option. Then picking between those two guards, Nico Mannion pick and roll sounds like the better option than Bolmaro playing in ISO. But number one option, Shields. Number two option, create a set for Mirotic, create something for Mirotic so he could get a look, a mid-range shot, a fadeaway or whatever.
Then you have Mannion, Lide, and Bolmaro.
So Mannion pick and roll would be my third option.
Yeah.
And then between Bolmaro and Lide, it's kind of hard for me to decide. Depends on who's having a better game up to that point.
So anyway, Leandro Bolmaro was playing one-on-one because I don't know why nobody of other players came to take the ball. Bolmaro had a nice game, but I don't think he has to have the ball in his hands in the last possession. Somebody grabbed the rebound, or he grabbed the rebound, and everybody just ran to the other side.
Even Shields, he didn't show any,
He wanted to set he wanted to play a Spanish pick and roll, but Zach Lide just ran away after the pick because Bolmaro had Vezenkov on the switch, and Milano were targeting Vezenkov for the all game. But what's weird for me is that Vezenkov just kept distance. He was like 1.5 meters, 2 meters away from Bolmaro, inviting him to take the off the dribble 3-pointer. And if he takes that, it's a win for Olympiacos anyways. And he stopped the penetration, and he was forced to pass the ball out. And I think then Mannion drove in, another nice switch, another defensive nice sequence by Olympiacos, and the ball goes out of bounds. But I was like, how are you not even getting a shot off in the last possession when you have so much talent on the court? You have Mirotic, Lide, Mannion, Shields.
And especially when they had a good day. Shields in the previous 2 consecutive plays, he had end one and also kicked the ball out to a 3-pointer by... I don't remember who. Maybe Kozer or even Bolmaro.
Bolmaro had a free from the corner.
Yeah, so
free.
But it was created by Shields. Yeah. It was a great play, great assist by Shields. So why do you have to play Bolmaro? That was also something I didn't understand at all.
Do you think August Messina's comments are fair, that they were treated like rookies, that Mirotic was treated like a rookie?
There was a lot of contact in that game that was, I would say, called weirdly.
I mean, they got in bonus 124 seconds into the fourth quarter. And I think that last 2 calls before getting into the bonus was not fair, I would say. I think it was cheap calls by the referees.
In favor of Olympiacos.
Exactly. And when you have 5 team fouls in the first 2 minutes, it really restricts your defensive actions and the level of physicality. So I think that Messina was fair to some point. I'm not sure about Mirotic's fouls, though. These were...
I can understand where those Messina comments are coming from, because one weird thing that I saw in the fourth quarter was these two situations. Like with 8 minutes remaining, Mustafa Fall, after the pick and roll, he's rolling down from the 3-point line, and there's Gianpaolo Ricci just staying there.
And that was horrible call.
Mustafa Fall just bulldozes into him because he's not seeing, like he's not looking where he's rolling, and Ricci is just there, sacrificing his body. Straight charge, and it's called a blocking foul. And then a couple of minutes after, Nikola Mirotic in the fast break is held by Thomas Walkup, and he does a little bit of push-off. But
and
while
I think
running,
he did this, when you try to initiate the contact as well.
But Walkup does not fall. He's just going a little bit backwards, and the ref calls an offensive foul there when the guy did not even fall. And there on the play before, we saw just Ricci falling down completely, and that was weird to me.
If you remember the Kazer call as well, on the corner, it was also something like I wouldn't take a foul call on that play as well. So I'm on Messina's side regarding this one. So, but again, you still put yourself in a position to potentially win the game. So, and you try to finish the game with this action. In the end, that was questionable to me.
But I don't know. It's just different Olympiacos this season. It's maybe because it's Fournier, maybe because they have more offensive weapons.
By saying different, you sounded like you don't like different Olympiacos, no? Am I right?
I'm not sure how I'm feeling about it. From one side, I see a team that can score so much easier because like Evan Fournier in the third quarter had 14 points straight and just made some tough shots, off the dribble three-pointer, had one play when he was driving inside, another step back three, like tough shots, like shots that you were not used to seeing from Olympiacos in the last years. But on the other side, their defense is not as great. And we were thinking on the podcast, maybe, sometimes they lack a little bit of energy and effort. But sometimes I just think that it's mistakes. Like now they have more offensive-oriented players in their lineups usually. And that comes with the price of having, more mistakes defensively. And like even Evan Fournier in the end of the fourth quarter, I thought that was like 2 mistakes by him. Like he gave up one backdoor cut, and Milano scored easily to cut the deficit to 1 point. So it's like, I think looking overall from the winners in the last years, like Panathinaikos won with their offense, Real Madrid won with their offense. I think it's different Olympiacos, but they still have a great chance of winning the whole thing just because they needed that. And I think their defense is still good enough to actually be great. But it's just different. And I don't know how I feel about that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
How do you feel about your favorite team, Monaco, beating FS in a good fashion, I would say?
I feel great in general. Just what has been happening there for the last month with Spanoulis, it's awesome. They only had one off game, which was in Madrid, but Monaco still has that bad habit when they play 2 away games on a double week. The second game usually is poor quality, and they were without a Kobo. But yesterday they showed up. They played great with energy, very aggressive. I felt a lot of confidence from role players like Strozel, for example.
Tarpe also.
Tarpe is now playing his role. He's playing important minutes because Alpha Diallo is out for a while, and somebody has to step up. And there you have Terry Tarpe, French national team candidate. I don't want to say player, but he did play in a EuroBasket. It felt great seeing them starting the game, playing with a real purpose. I think they won the game in the first quarter. To be honest, they broke the game in the first quarter, and then they just kept the lead. They secured the lead. And one particular moment that I loved was with Coach Spanoulis, how he encouraged Mamadou Jaite, because they play those 2 short roll actions in consecutive possessions.
Because I saw those plays. Yeah. He was just turning the ball like
short roll
crazy.
Actions,
throwing NFL passes to the stands.
The usual stuff. The big man on a short roll, he gets the ball at the free throw line. Then he has to turn to the corner, make the pass, and there's an open shooter. So on both occasions, the pass was too strong, too high. The pass was basically to the players on Monaco's bench.
then Wanyama was not getting those passes.
It just happens 2 times in a row. But Spanoulis is calm. He's keeping Jaite on the court. Jaite scores some layups, grabs a couple of offensive rebounds, and then Spanoulis approaches him to encourage him, and he what did he do? Rubbed his cheeks or something. You do your thing, big man. I love that because it's easy to, let's say, be mad about 2 turnovers, make a quick substitution, punish the player or something like that. But no, he's just...
Because I think sometimes you can be affected by the crowd. Because the crowd is pissed, oh my God, this guy, he's terrible.
And it's something to work on. You need to develop a skill. Because being a big guy and making the right pass on a short roll, turn to the corner, is a skill. It's something you need to work on. For some players, it looks natural. Others like Jaite maybe need to work on it a little bit more, but I'm good with that. And in general, it was just a real quality performance by Monaco. Jordan Lloyd had a good game. James had some good
a lot of defensive effort, I would say. Both Jordan and Mike were great.
They were much better on defense than FS. Because when I looked at FS, I saw a team that wasn't focused enough maybe. They kind of lost what they had in the past few games with Zvezda, with PAO, where they kept them under 70 playing at home.
Come on, guys! You can't expect much defense from FS.
No, I'm just saying in the last few games before this one, I saw some improvements, but now, it was just too easy for Monaco.
I think they've lost the game in the first couple of possessions, basically, and I mean,
just like Žalgiris. According to Andrea Trinchieri.
Yeah, could be the case. And
the first minutes sometimes show you which team is actually there to compete and which team is just too casual.
And the first couple of possessions, you saw the intensity of Monaco players. Jordan Lloyd, great, making some great deflections. Terry Tarpey, he was already under the skin of Elijah Brand from the first play. Very physical. They didn't let them to take the ball easily in the post or even on the perimeter, blocking, isolating some guys. So it was great. I'm just happy about, how one of the rare things that I like about the coaching change is a new opportunity to some guys. I know that Tarpey's situation is related to Alpha Diallo's injury, but giving a guy 20 minutes per game since Diallo was out, and I'm talking now about Terry Tarpey, giving a guy 20 minutes per game when he appeared 9 seconds in one game against Maccabi and then 37 seconds in Athens, and that was it. That was Terry Tarpey's EuroLeague season. To me, it's huge. He's not delivering huge numbers. Tarpey is not about the numbers. 4 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists. But defense, intensity, ability to stretch the floor by making threes.
Also deflections. He does a lot of deflections.
Amazing defense, energy. All those great teams has guys like Kalaitzakis, Tarpey, those momentum changers, and Tarpey was very important in this great stretch by Monaco. And since Tarpey got this promotion in minutes and in his role, Monaco actually is having the best offensive and defensive rating in the EuroLeague. So
even
that's huge.
Begaren is getting some minutes. And now,
come on, guys, Vito Brown is playing. They're playing with a forward that can stretch the floor, finally.
Vito Brown and Jaron Blossom game have clear roles now.
Yeah.
You're a 4. You need to stretch the floor. You do what you do. And now we're seeing what value Vito Brown brings to this team. So I like the offensive fluidity as well. We can talk about energy, effort, defense, but the fluidity, the movement, the ball movement is nice to watch right now, because in the beginning of the season they look too static, in my opinion. And it's not some criticism towards Sasha, because Sasha did amazing things with this team. Sometimes you just need a coaching change for things to get better. And now I see much more fluidity, much more ball movement. Players moving without the ball
right now. For the power forward to get a shot in the empty corner.
Just quicker decision making, passing, and the pick and pop and all that stuff. So
it's crazy.
Credit to Spanoulis, because at the moment they're looking like one of the best teams in Europe.
Oh yeah,
the ratings with Spanoulis is just ridiculous. Number 1 offensive rating, 124 per 100. Defense is second best, allowing 110.7 per 100. That's great numbers. High. Net rating is for sure number 1, and they're making 39% threes under Spanoulis. Like, you remember, we were
unseen numbers. If we talk about Rocket team,
unseen numbers. Like, it's always like 29, 30, 31. Like,
they're always red on Bibalytics website.
Now they're all green. Now they're all green. They're not taking a lot of threes. That hasn't changed, but they're making
shots.
Those
They're taking quality shots, man.
Yeah.
And it's not like they played bad teams. They with Spanoulis,
No.
They played PAO, Oli, Fener,
Yeah.
FS. Okay, Alba doesn't count, but in general, they played good teams and they got some
Madrid
really,
as well,
really
and they
good
kept
wins.
those great numbers even despite this bad loss. So
5-2.
the next topics, I've already mentioned that we had a transfer deadline. Those players who wanted to switch the team during the season had the window until December 25th to do that. And even though if you didn't have a deal on the table, EuroLeague teams were able to deregister some of the players to make them available for that moment. That's what happened with Monaco and Furkan Korkmaz. Some teams actually did moves, and all the EuroLeague teams will be able to make moves until February 26th, if it includes non-EuroLeague players. But some teams did those last-minute transfers, and of course the most important one happened in Athens in response to Mathias Lessort injury. Obviously, they signed Wenyen Gabriel. From what it was reported, Maccabi received a free 50K buyout for this move, and Wenyen Gabriel went to Olympiacos until the end of the season. Just few numbers to understand what shoes Wenyen Gabriel will have to fill right now. We're talking about Mathias Lessort, who was bringing 3.5 points per game on 74% two-point shooting, 7.1 rebounds, including 2.8 offensive boards, 1.6 assists, 1 steal, 0.7 block shots, almost 21 PAR, top 24 scorer, the highest scoring traditional center in the EuroLeague, top 2 in rebounds, top 3 in the offensive boards, top 6 in efficiency, top 10 in blocks, and with Lessort on the floor, according to Bibalytics, Panathinaikos defense improved by 8.8 points per 100 possessions.
I don't think he's there to fill his shoes. I think he's there to be a backup center. Obviously, Yurtseven should be the main center right now. And he knows the system. Actually, as a backup to Lessort, he seemed like the perfect fit, who deserves even more minutes. And I think he's going to be the main center right now. And Gabriel is there just to be a backup. Just like sometimes you play 10, 12, maybe 15 minutes and you do your stuff. But he's not even a similar player to Lessort in terms of his style, of what he does, what are his strengths. So he's not going to fill any shoes. I mean, I even expect maybe Mitoglu to cover some minutes playing as a stretch 5. Honestly, if they didn't sign Gabriel, I would say they are still looking okay with Yurtseven, with Mitoglu and Antetokounmpo as a third option, for example. So now I don't think there should be any pressure on him. You're moving to a team which...
it's not on one player. It's on the coach to decide how he has to change the dynamics of the team, of the rotations of their style.
I don't think much changes will happen. It's just more Yurtseven pick and roll actions. He starts the game. He gets more touches. He's a talented, really skilled and crafty center. And he could be like a fantasy bargain right now because I'm expecting big performances.
I was thinking about that.
I'm just saying that Wenyen Gabriel is there to, let's say, fill in a gap in this roster. He's moving from a Maccabi team where people maybe expected a lot from him after the success he had with South Sudan in the Olympics. But now he's moving to a team where you can win a EuroLeague and just help that team a little bit, which is a good position to be in. Wenyen Gabriel, in my eyes, he still has this problem with silly fouls. He always gets into foul trouble. That's why I cannot really trust him to play 20, 25 minutes. Usually he's finishing the first half with 3 personal fouls already. But again, I mean, if they have the money, it's a good signing. It's a good player to add to your roster, and that's it. Yeah, but Lessort is out for 4 months, so you can expect him to be back for the most important part of the season.
Is it 4 months or is it at least 4?
I'm not sure, really.
So he misses January.
Or it's like 4 months at most.
February, March.
So basically, if
April.
it's exact 4 months, he returns basically at the time of the playoffs, just right before the playoffs.
So in perfect situation, he could play in a Final Four if Panathinaikos is there. Probably.
Yeah, theoretically.
Okay, so
Hopefully.
right now I'm just counting on Omer Yurtseven because the quality is there. He's going to be the main center. Just let him play, and I think good things will happen. He will not be as good defensively as Lessort is. but offensively he will score.
And this is where others will need to step up, I think, because PAO hasn't been known for their defense this season, and Lessort was trying to cover those areas when he could do that. So others will need to step up for sure. But to me, it's just a little bit I don't know, sad or what's the feeling here, but the way how Maccabi has become just a team that's like somebody gets injured and any other EuroLeague team is like, oh, wait, do Maccabi have any player in that position? Let's call them and offer them some money and let's try to get that player because, we all know the situation, but it's
I have some crazy numbers.
They're like a youth team, not a youth team.
G League team.
Yeah, G League team. You pick up players from G League teams.
You're just like, oh, we like that player. We need player in that position. Maccabi has a great player in that position, interesting player. Let's make a call. You're probably going to make a deal.
So almost 7 months ago, they had this team that Tel Aviv Maccabi was proud of and that we were admiring. 2 or 3 years, right? With Wade Baldwin and Lorenzo Brown.
Bonzi Colson.
Josh Nebo. A lot of great players. So since then, they made... So 7 guys left that team this summer, right? 12 new players were signed by Maccabi in general. And from these... not 12, 13 new players were signed by Maccabi. And from these 13 new players, 6 already left. So basically, we're talking about the team which had... 26 players transactions since the off season.
Wow!
So it's just crazy. It's insane number, and a lot of these additions, they already gone. Alpha, Kaba, there was Saban Lee. Saban Lee, I even feel bad about Saban Lee because he was the best in-season addition that they had, but they couldn't handle the situation. And I actually heard that other EuroLeague teams tried one more time to get him out from Manisa, but now it's hard to buy him out for the second time from the Turkish club.
That would be ridiculous.
So it's just like a ridiculous situation for Maccabi, wow. And I'm not even sure. Of course, you have to, let's say, blame the circumstances, their situation, war situation, these contract clauses and stuff, difficult offseason, but I mean, it's not sustainable. That's for sure.
Yeah.
My main question, though, regarding this move was, does it actually hurt Panathinaikos Final Four or title chances?
I don't want to talk about title chances. It's going to be one game. Anything can happen in one game.
Let's say Final Four chances.
Final Four, I think it makes it more difficult for them to grab one of the top 4 seeds in the regular season to have the home court advantage. So in that sense, it might hurt their Final Four chances because they lost some games. There were some sloppy performances in the first part of the regular season, just probably thinking that when we need to win, we will be better, and we will get the wins necessary. Now, without Lessort, it will be more difficult. You will have to rely a bit more probably on your guards to score. Kendrick Nunn should up his averages even more in the second part of the season, probably average something up like 23 points per game. But I still put them in the Final Four, even with Lessort being out.
Okay, yeah, me too. I still see them in the Final Four. A lot of uncertainty surrounding other teams. A lot of uncertainty surrounding Panathinaikos, but I just see them. I see them having that extra gear when they need to actually do that. And whether or not Lessort comes back for the playoffs, I still think they're Final Four material with what they have right now.
Okay. Another Final Four contender, Fenerbahce, made a couple of moves. They kept Cam Birch until the end of the season, but parted ways with Boban Marjanovic. I'm hearing that they won't necessarily sign another big man, although they were exploring the market for a few months already, because the market is really dry and they're actually also exploring a backcourt addition. My question to you would be, if you have a chance to make one move, who would you sign? A big man or a guard to improve that team?
A center. They have guards. It's just that they are either injured or not in form. But they do have them. And centers, they don't even have enough. So
they do have 3 centers.
So they play Birch, Shanley,
not enough
and Meli.
Not enough quality. let's say.
Okay.
And Melli, okay, you play him as a center. Maybe that's your plan, but he's a 4/5. So I would still look for a big guy.
But with the game surrounded so much about the guards and those guards either injured and like Wade Baldwin experiment not working so far.
At the same time, you can be patient with your guards.
You can
be patient with your bigs as long as you want, but what's the upside of that part of your team?
I think for a guard to enter Šara's team mid-season is so tough. We see that Skylar Mays has a lot of struggles right now. In the past, when Žalgiris, coached by Šaras, would sign players mid-season, it was always tough for them, especially if it's a guard. So I don't know. Unless there's someone with really proven quality that you could sign, I would still think about adding a center at the moment.
I was always thinking about a center. I was always questioning the level of those centers that they signed last minute, and Boban is already gone, but and Birch is not like some crazy option that you have in the center. But I think you can work it out with those three guys there. It's not ideal. It's far from ideal, to be honest. But their games is something, I don't know, something is not working, something's not clicking offensively. And to me, it seems that you need that spark that, maybe Scotty Wilbekin was able to give Fenerbahce sometimes. Not in every game, maybe, but he was the spark. And so far, with all the injuries and with how Wade Baldwin is trying to adjust to a completely different world, completely different system.
And also not being in top shape because
he's injured all the time.
Exactly. So I don't know. And knowing that his injury history in the playoffs with his hamstring and all that stuff, I would probably go with the guard if I have only one option.
Okay.
And of course, if it's a game-changing option, let's say, not just some backup type of.
They signed Skylar Mays.
I don't need another.
It's not working.
Actually, Skylar Mays was one of the most, let's say, attracted guards on the market. A lot of teams were after him, and he was supposed to be a really solid, kind of difference maker for the team. But he just cannot adapt yet.
He's probably a good player.
Exactly.
He's not under.
He's a very specific situation.
Right now.
Get in the game with top basketball leagues. Place your bets with the highest odds for greater wins. Oh, score big with our exclusive bonuses. Bet now and get your bonus.
Another move was made by Maccabi. They bought Trevion Williams from Alba on a buyout, and he joined Maccabi on a 1.5-year contract. Does it make any difference for Maccabi? You watched him play against Žalgiris, right? I saw those passes that he made.
He was taking a piss in the fourth quarter from Žalgiris.
Okay.
Žalgiris didn't show up.
Žalgiris didn't show up. He was making those passes 5-0.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Look, but he's a good player. But the move means so little to the league in general because, he's moving from the 18th spot to the 17th spot.
That's the saddest part of this move.
They had to replace Wenyen Gabriel with somebody.
Although they signed him before selling Wenyen Gabriel.
Look, from what I see, the way Maccabi is dealing with all these players leaving and trying to replace them, it's probably very important for them to stay competitive in the Israeli league and try to win the title.
True.
Because this EuroLeague season, they're not going to do anything. Let's be real. They're not going to make the play-in. They're not going to make the playoffs. They might get some wins like yesterday, but it doesn't mean much. So they're probably just trying to maintain the quality, the depth, just to be competitive in the Israeli league where they are actually facing some strong opponents. And it's not a given that they will win the championship. Probably that's the idea behind all these moves.
I agree with Rytis. He does not change anything to EuroLeague standings. But I think one of the most talented guys right now that are up and coming in the EuroLeague, just a second-year player in Europe. He was doing incredible stuff last year in Ulm. One of the most talented big men that we have in Europe ever. But that his skills of doing so many different things is sometimes stopping him from actually being a really, really good player. And when he understands and matures when to do which thing, and not try to overdo stuff and try to show out, then he's going to be a really great player, I think, to a winning team in the EuroLeague, because he has everything. He has a shot, he has a post move, he has a pass, he has a touch from the mid-range. He can make those threes, not at a high percentage, but he can do that. And so he just needs to, I think, mature, and he could be a really great player. But yesterday, he had a one pass behind his back, like not seeing the basket. He had a
Teodosic kind of stuff, I would say.
Yeah, and just he had one. So he grabbed the rebound, crossed the half court, made a dribble between the legs. Now he's back to the basket, going into a post up, and he's like doing the dream shake and fading away and making a fade away turnaround jumper. And in the first half, he took a rebound. He's starting the transition. He goes between the legs, behind the back in one motion, and Žalgiris just fouls him because they want to stop the fast break. And I'm like, wow. But at the same time, every pass of his is either going to the EuroLeague top 10 or he's going to the bench.
Because that's full pass, material, right?
Yeah. Something like that. So this is what I'm thinking with Trevion Williams. But he has an amazing potential, and it's going to be interesting how he develops in these 1.5 years.
And I think that playing for Kataš is the best thing for him, because Kataš likes to play those two bigs, let's say, on the floor. Mm-hmm. In all of his years, he played Poitras and Nebo together, and Trevion Williams, he's even better fit in those big lineups. So that's a probably great spot for him to show his potential. And just the last move that I wanted to discuss shortly was, as I mentioned, Monaco. They're registering Furkan Korkmaz from the EuroLeague and making him a free agent as well. I know that he barely played. He actually showed up in every 9th EuroLeague game. And the initial idea is that Monaco is not even looking for a replacement because they're all set. They were exploring the market for bigs, for, let's say, athletic, versatile 5-men to switch on the perimeter. But since Vito Brown actually stepped up, got a bigger role and kind of, did what Spanoulis like, it's not clear if they will even enter the market. They might be all set for the rest of the season unless something happens. But just in general, what do you think about Korkmaz chapter in Monaco? The expectations that you had before him returning to to Europe, and how this all developed?
Well, we barely saw him play, so it's hard to say if it's a good decision or a bad decision. But they didn't plan to bring back Jordan Lloyd when they started the season, and since they brought him back, and now Nick Calates is about to make his EuroLeague debut with Monaco, you're going to see a lot of free guard lineups. And Furkan Korkmaz, as an off-ball player, as a shooter, maybe doesn't have a role in Spanoulis' system right now. So it's best for both sides to just part ways. And I know Furkan Korkmaz grew up in Efes, so maybe Efes could bring him back. A Turkish player, they probably were looking for someone to add to the roster, so why not? And yeah, so that's it. Monaco, since Jordan Lloyd was signed, they have a full roster, and Nick is about to come back and play in the second part of the season. So again, you just run those free guard lineups. Alpha Diallo will be back. Terry Tarpey now has proven he can play. So I agree, they're all set. Even if you talk about the bigs, okay, mobile center is probably the type of player you need in modern day, but they're fine with Demo. Papagiannis has been okay recently. You can trust Jaite in some games, and Vito Brown and Jaron Blossom game are two solid options, so they're fine, honestly.
Is Korkmaz
I thought that Korkmaz could help them a lot when they signed him.
Yeah.
But I couldn't know that he will be injured for a few months.
Yeah. He came out of shape to the camp, and when you're injured all the time, it's really hard to get back into the rhythm. And since they had a coaching change, probably Spanoulis and maybe even himself, Korkmaz, they saw that this is not going to work well. So let's move somewhere.
Is he even healthy?
Now he's healthy. He played in the French league before.
He played in Madrid.
No, but
also.
It's not like, I'm not asking if he played. I know that, but his physical shape, his health conditions is at what level? Because
he said early level, I would say.
Either he seems really out of shape, or is he having already like a lot of problems?
Well, maybe we should call him and ask, because we don't know that. But
but definitely it will take time for him to get into the rhythm, because he was never in shape. He didn't have a chance to be in shape, basically.
Look, for any player, even an elite player, it's tough when you don't have a good preseason, and then you start the season injured, and you try to come back midway through the season.
You're injured again.
Not feeling 100%. So even for the best players, it's tough. And since you're a newcomer to a new team and you're a role player, you're not someone who's like the main guy, it's even tougher. So okay, now he's a free agent. Let's see what his
actually
next move
maybe
is.
the best move for him would be to go to the Euro Cup or even BCL to get a bigger role, to play more minutes, and then to, let's say, rebuild his stock for the offseason. And actually one of the teams that I heard were checking on him was Başakşehir, so maybe that's an option. Again, Turkish club, big role. They have a good shot at winning the Euro Cup, so who knows? It might not be necessarily EuroLeague or FS, let's say. Yeah, we had players vote for the EuroLeague mid-season awards. 6 different categories. Players picked their standout players or coaches from the first part of the season. Not sure if you checked the article, but I can go through some of the categories quickly, and I will just want to hear your reactions.
How many players voted?
40
players.
So it's kind of solid
From
number
all
of players. Yeah.
Which team has the most players that voted?
I have no clue. I basically reached out to every EuroLeague player that kind of had any access, either by phone number or through Instagram chats. Some of them do not let to get messages, let's say, to send me the message. So because they are probably attacked by the fans and stuff. So it's some of the guys were unreachable,
or they blocked you,
or they blocked me, but. There's all the current EuroLeague players didn't block me. That's for sure.
Some former
EuroLeague players. Active EuroLeague players had me unblocked, so I'm fine. But anyways, MVP voting: TJ Short 61%, Kendrick Nunn second 13%, Sasha Vezenkov third 5%.
No surprises here.
That's fair.
We agree with Ritas for sure.
That is fair.
Yeah, let's go next. Breakout player. Carson Edwards first, 40%. Theo Maledon, 19. Tamir Blatt, 14. Sylvain Francisco, 11. Tariq Jones, 5.
That's also fair. I think I would put
list.
Francisco maybe in the third place. But Edwards, Maledon, and all the guys that mentioned,
I would put
fair.
Francisco above Tamir Blatt just because I've seen Blatt perform at this level when he was, let's say, in Alba Berlin. So now he is again in a situation where the team just lacks quality, and now he's getting a bigger role, more responsibility, and he does more or less the same thing he did with Alba. Different story with Francisco, because he was already on a good team last season, and now he's on another good team with a great coach, and he stepped up his game. Carson Edwards, leading scorer in
deserves
the league.
number one, deservedly. Before you started going through these, I thought the players did a really solid job voting here, and
they took it pretty seriously. I would say
fair results. I would say
objective.
Yeah. And actually, I love this list in general because there are so many guys who actually stepped up. Even you mentioned, I also had this feeling with Tamir Blatt, but he was not that efficient in Alba. His efficiency was not at such a high level. Like, he's leading EuroLeague in assists, and he has the third highest assist average all time in the EuroLeague. The first two belongs to Nick Halatis, so he's doing some wonderful job with Maccabi. Theo Maledon is amazing story. And in the last 9-game stretch where Asvel actually won 6 games, Maledon was averaging 23 points on almost 50% shooting from the field, including threes, 91% from the free throw line, 4.3 rebounds, and almost 6 assists. That's insane stat line and insane season that Asvel are having by their standards.
The Asvel team and the coach deserve a lot more respect than they are getting right now. If from us, from anybody, we don't talk much about them. But Maledon, of course, now is the number one guy that everyone's following, but See what Melvin Aginsai is doing. Andre Robertson, I thought he retired, honestly, 2 years ago. He has huge impact with his body, with his physique. When I saw him in Kaunas, I thought, man, if he can still do this for at least 2 or 3 years, he could like join the top teams in Europe.
Were you in Kaunas watching that game live? You weren't, right?
No.
He was. You was. No.
I mean, I saw the game.
It would be a punishment for me to go to Kaunas.
Never.
I don't think I'm ever going to the arena at all.
Right.
At least not this season.
What I wanted to say with that looking live from the commentary spot, like Andrew Robertson was looking just incredible, because a lot of things that he does you can't see on the stat sheet, but when you see those small details that he does with his size, with his length, and it was the first time probably this season that after a switch, like Francisco after a switch he had Andrew Robertson, because Laverne was out, so he was playing a lot in the 4 spot, and I was like, yeah, I'm not pretty confident about this one-on-one. You know, maybe let's just try to see other matchups that are on the court. So huge impact by Andre Robertson.
And just let's give credit to Carson Edwards as well. He made a leap in his scoring. He made a 11.5 leap in his scoring compared to the last season. His efficiency also improved a lot by 9.2 points per game. So that's a huge season that he's having, and he's one of the main reasons why Bayern is a top 4 team in the EuroLeague
and
currently.
You got to credit the player as much as his coach. I think Gordy Herbert just unlocks all the skill in that team.
And we will get some credit to Herbert, because there was the best coach, and I think he came in second.
Yeah, he was second in best coach category, 32% of votes that he received. Thiago Splitter, of course, 45%. He won the voting. Andrea Trinchieri was third with 16th.
I think if Thiago Splitter gets Coach of the Year award this season, it's like an award to this whole Paris basketball organization. It's not like an award to this one man. It's just an award to Paris basketball,
their style,
for what they've been doing,
philosophy,
the continuity that they have since the last season. I think it's about that.
If Thiago Splitter gets best coach, then probably TJ Schwartz gets MVP, because that means that Paris is pretty high up top.
It all depends on the second part of the season. Because now if we're giving mid-season awards, you can easily give the MVP to TJ.
Oh, yeah.
And you can...
Like, no question.
You can definitely give the Coach of the Year to Thiago Splitter. But that's just mid-season.
By the way, he's the youngest coach in the EuroLeague. He's still 39. It's his first head coaching year in general.
I thought Pierrick Poupé is the youngest. He looks really young. He looks like me.
Yeah. I also thought that Pierrick
Poupé. No, he looks younger than me.
Pierrick is 40, actually.
He looks like 27.
Yeah.
Nice.
Kudos to Pierrick Poupé. Best rookie, of course, TJ Schwartz. That's unfair. That was unfair categories.
There's no debate.
65%, but I just wanted to check who is the second best. And of course, Jalen Horde.
Easily.
He received 10%. Lonnie Walker got 5%.
TJ Schwartz is just a no-brainer here.
But I love Jalen Horde, man. He's amazing as well. Yeah.
Disrespecting anybody else, great player, but if we talk,
we just spoke about TJ so much.
The rookie of the season is the MVP of the season at the same time. So what are we even talking about?
Imagine this was happening in the NBA.
That's something unusual.
Impossible.
In EuroLeague, you could say like there are NBA guys coming to Europe making a huge impact. You could say like, oh, Kendrick Nunn, maybe he was a chance at being the MVP of the season. He was the best rookie. But we're talking about the guy who just 2 years ago played in the BCL, won the MVP of the BCL and also the title with Bonn. Next year, EuroCup MVP, EuroCup title. Now, EuroLeague MVP and title are pending.
I mean...
So the next step
Paris basketball is our passion.
The next step would be the EuroBasket gold with North Macedonia.
Okay. And then
and the MVP.
We exclude the FIBA competitions, and it's NBA MVP and NBA title.
No, that is undoable, unfortunately.
The best defensive player. This one is always interesting. So this year we had a very close race because the winner received 15% of votes. So it just shows how close the race was. And we have Alpha Diallo from Monaco as a winner.
Well deserved. Well deserved. Until that injury, the way he was fighting every game.
I'm happy for him because he didn't receive a public recognition for his defense on that level, I would say.
Now I think he's a legit two-way player because he had so much their offense as well, with all the cuts, with all the spot-up shots. He's actually been making those fast breaks, and at the same time defending multiple positions, fighting for the rebounds. I mean, well-deserved to be in this conversation.
He's having career highs in scoring, efficiency, assists, steals, and also shooting efficiently, making 63% of twos and 48% of threes. So that's a crazy season for Alpha.
Tyson Ward, 10%. I like that he is getting some recognition already in the EuroLeague because he is a defensive menace for sure.
Do you remember his 3 consecutive hustle plays against Olympiacos in the third quarter?
Yep. That was one of the moments that stuck in my head.
I was actually afraid that he might win this one, and when I'm like, oh, it cannot be
Paris Awards?
Paris Mid-Season Awards. So I'm happy that there were...
He's like, 40 players voted, and Alpha Diallo got 50%, he got 10, so he's probably like 2 votes away or something like that.
Something like that, yeah. 2 free votes away.
So Alpha Diallo probably got, 6 votes?
6, 7, yeah.
And he had 4, so...
Yep, that was close.
He's coming.
Edith Tavares was in between of Diallo and Tyson Ward. He was second.
I think Eddie is just here for his reputation rather than the season that he's having and Madrid is having right now.
Jerian Grant was third with Tyson Ward as well. And then we have a
Thomas Volkopoulos.
List of Thomas Volkopoulos, Nick Weiler-Babb, and Dovydas Giedraitis.
Cool.
And the all EuroLeague team, if it's a positionless all EuroLeague team, we have TJ Shorts, Carson Edwards, Kendrick Nunn, Sasha Vezenkov, and Nigel Hayes-Davis on it.
Yeah, okay.
Pretty fair list, right?
Pretty fair list.
The first couple of guys who were after the top 5 was Nikola Mirotic and Mathias Lessort.
Yeah, Lessort could be there.
Instead of who?
I just like when that team has a center. Like,
You're old school, right?
No. I don't need positions in there. But the big guy, I want to have at least one big guy in the lineup, and he's the most dominant one right now.
Which one? Who would you take out?
Remind me.
TJ, Kendrick Nunn, Carson Edwards,
and Nigel Hayes-Davis.
Sasha, and Nigel Hayes-Davis.
That's so tough.
Exactly.
That is so tough. I don't know, man. I don't know.
Is Sasha doing enough?
He's actually having career high numbers in scoring and efficiency.
It's hard.
Even better than numbers when he had in the MVP season.
All those
somehow it's more silent.
All those free guards deserve to be there. I cannot take out Carson Edwards.
Exactly.
Kanan?
Kanan was like averaging 25 points in the last 5 games.
At the same time,
but Kanan had those 2 great games before he was not.
At the same time, I have to be fair. It's the mid-season awards. And Panathinaikos, the way they look in the standings right now, probably don't deserve to have 2 players in the
good
first
point.
team.
Yep.
So fair enough then.
Okay, cool. And for the end of the podcast, since it's the last podcast of 2024, I had 5 bold predictions and questions for you guys heading to 2025. The first one was, which 4 teams will make the EuroLeague Final Four?
Who wants to go first? And I think Donatas should go first here.
Okay, so to me it's quite easy.
Okay.
I'm quite easy.
I'm confident. There are only 2 teams that make me confident about their Final Four participation. I'm talking about Monaco and Olympiacos.
Oh.
I want to check Panathinaikos without Mathias Lessort, but I also have them in the Final Four.
Okay.
Let's say this is my ranking of confidence. So Panathinaikos is third in this rank of confidence.
Up until this point, I completely agree. I
have the same 3 teams, but the
fourth team
is difficult.
It's supposed to be Fenerbahce, but the way they play, I don't feel confident about them at all. So I predict one team sneaking in the Final Four. The problem is that I'm not sure which one, really. I'm not very...
You have to say it.
So, okay, I have to say it. So let's say it's Paris, whatever. I go with Paris.
Like so preseason predictions were for most people Oli, PAO, Real, and Fener.
Yeah. So
Now things have changed a lot, and I do have the same 3 teams: Olympiacos, Panathinaikos, Monaco, and I have to add one more team, which is a tough task. But I'm gonna stick with this, and it doesn't make sense right now. But I'm still sticking with this that Real Madrid will be there.
Man, I'm not surprised because they're gonna make the playoffs, and then it depends on the matchups. So
They're probably gonna be without the home
and they're gonna
court.
peak for sure for the playoffs.
I still pick them. Whatever, so much experience.
It might
quality.
be this Real Madrid Maccabi playoff series, if you remember a few years ago that happened. And everyone thought that, this is the year that Madrid won't make the Final Four because Maccabi and
the easiest series for them.
But yeah, it was a sweep.
Well, maybe last year it was even easier against Baskonia.
Yeah.
But I still think they need to add someone. They need to sign someone. They're showing confidence in Chus Mateo. It's fine. They won some games now. I think that the 4th spot is really open. If we, let's say, lock PAO, Oli, and Monaco there, the 4th spot is really open. But again, you don't know. Monaco might face Olympiacos in the quarterfinal again, and you will not have both of them.
I have the most confidence with those 2 teams I not mentioned, Monaco and Olympiacos. Again, without Lessort, that's a huge question. I think if he plays or not, and also it's depending on the matchup with PAO. Because Lessort was a huge weapon for them on both sides of the court. And last year, we saw that even with a way more talented team, they had so many problems in that series. And without Lessort and knowing Panathinaikos, I still see them in the Final Four. But it's way more trickier if Lessort does not come back in time. And the 4th one, I'm going to go with Paris because it just reminds me of some kind of a fairy tale story. And I already talked about so much about their system, how do they play, how unorthodox it is for the EuroLeague, and I think it can hold on for the entire season. And and just because other teams does not really convince me that much.
Okay.
But of course, there's going to be so many changes.
Yep. Which 3 teams will make the podium in the 2025 EuroBasket?
In 2025.
So I have Serbia. Whoever plays for that team, Pešić will make the best of it.
What if Jokic does not play?
They already made the World Cup finals without Jokic, so they will be fine. I think they will be fine. I have France because I think that when we will play, I hope that Nolan Traore will play. Of course, it's a draft year, but
Theo Maledon is there.
Oh, Theo Maledon. I forgot about Theo Maledon. So now they're good.
No, France
Fournier is having a good
stacked.
season, so they're fine. But the 3rd team, I'm not sure. Again,
Germany?
Mo Wagner out for the season. Franz Wagner has some injury issues. I wonder how it will affect, let's say, Orlando's position on his presence in the EuroBasket. The new coach, I like them a lot, but I'm just not sure how this transition will work out.
You just don't think they're going to have the roster because...
And they have a new head coach, so I'm not sure how it's going to work out.
It's hard.
Alex Mumbro,
I forgot that.
Yeah.
I forgot.
It's
not
hard
Gordon
to predict
Herbert
the
anymore.
EuroBasket without knowing the rosters, honestly.
That's true. That's true.
Lithuania.
Why not?
Why not Lithuania?
Well,
Why not?
Yeah, it didn't convince me, guys. That didn't convince me.
But the 3rd spot is open for
if
me.
we talk about Germany, like if Dennis Schroeder shows up, they will still build a solid team around him, even without the Wagner bros. They have the stretch bigs. They have guys that help. Mo Delo is having a good season as like a secondary ball handler. Nick Weiler-Bob is having a good season. I mean,
they can actually bring guys like Hartenstein, who didn't play.
Do you think
they
they
options.
will show up for the 4th summer in the row?
I don't know. I don't know that.
That's
a
doubt
tricky
it.
part
Might not,
because...
but I mean, Schroeder probably wants to be a European champion as well as a world champion. It all depends a lot on how it goes with the Golden State Warriors, how deep of a run they might have in the postseason. I don't know.
What kind of connection Mumbro will make with Schroeder, because that was the key for Gordon Herbert.
That's fair. That's a fair argument. Okay, I agree with Serbia and France. I mean, France, I have to put them at number one just because of how stacked they are and in all positions. Serbia.
Is Giannis going to play for Greece? Can Spanoulis convince him to play?
Again,
because if he's there, I go with Greece then.
Milwaukee might go deep, might lose in the first round of playoffs. Nobody knows now. But I have to pick the third team still. Not Slovenia. Probably.
There's Spain always there.
Nah, they're not going to make it.
They're not there anymore. That's what we've said like for 5 years, but they're still.
I mean, Germany
there.
is an easy, obvious pick, even with all the uncertainties.
I go with Greece.
Okay.
If Giannis plays, I'll go with the Greece as well. Which European star will win the NBA ring next year? Or none of these NBA European greats?
Season?
Yeah.
This season.
Kristaps Porzingis.
Okay.
Second one.
Okay. Fair enough. There's a lot of mystery about the NBA project in Europe. What do you think? What we gonna learn about this NBA thing in 2025?
I don't think we're gonna learn much.
Let's say, but reportedly their idea was to start in 2026. Right. So basically, you probably need to hear, or you would like to hear something about, some specifics of how it's gonna work out.
I think they're going just to announce that they're starting from the 26-27 season. I think we are going to hear that something is going to happen, but I highly doubt that they will be immediately a major player in Europe, just because an NBA name without the biggest clubs in Europe does not change the landscape drastically. And I don't think they're getting EuroLeague clubs. And if they're getting one or two EuroLeague clubs, and that does not change anything. And the situation is that there's just not enough money in European basketball. So if you are putting an NBA name on it, it's not like all of a sudden the teams start to make a lot of money and somehow this league is bigger than the EuroLeague or Champions League. So I don't know. I'm not very. I'm a bit skeptical about this project.
I'm looking at this like a collaboration rather than Adam Silver creating a new league in Europe. It's probably just a collab between NBA and FIBA. I would love to have a clear structure where you qualify based on sporting merit, give back the domestic championships real value. I would love for that to happen, but it's going to be really tough. Maybe NBA is going to put some money in to get things running. I don't know how you can make business out of this, but I know one thing, that Adam Silver is a businessman and he does not need competition. So if he's creating a product in Europe, this is a product that is supposed to help the NBA to even be better. And it's probably going to give them even more control on how they bring in players, how they bring in talent from Europe to the NBA. Because in Europe, we're talking about we need bigger buyouts. We need to somehow earn more money because our star players are leaving, going to the NBA for free. Now they're signing NCAA deals, and we don't even see them playing in Europe. So everything that Adam Silver does is just to make the NBA stronger. And what value it will bring to European basketball, I don't know. But we need to fix things. There are too many tournaments right now in Europe.
So that's what I don't want. I don't want a competition between the leagues. I want everything under one umbrella. I don't need EuroLeague's umbrella, NBA's umbrella. There's FIBA somewhere in between. It's already too confusing.
That wouldn't make sense
to us. So I just don't want a kind of strong NBA league, NBA Europe, NBA FIBA league, then EuroLeague, and then there's, I don't know what happens with the Eurocup or BCL or whatever. I don't need this confusion.
It wouldn't be great for anyone.
Exactly.
Nobody would win.
We have right now either. I mean, I would love for this EuroLeague shareholder structure to be gone once and for all. Qualify based on sporting merit. Have a best tournament like the Champions League, the secondary tournament like some Europe Cup. You could have even a third layer to that. But you have to qualify on sporting merit because this shareholder stuff is, and it's annoying, honestly. any team can afford to have a bad season knowing that they have a EuroLeague license, they're a shareholder, and that's it. I don't like that. But I don't know what general ideas NBA and FIBA have that they discussed and sitting at the table.
What will be the hot topic of 2025 in the basketball world? We're going to remember 2024 as the season and as the year when Panathinaikos won the EuroLeague after a massive rebuild in 1 year. Of course, Paris Olympics were wonderful. Team USA, Steph Curry, this game against Serbia, it was wonderful. How do you think, what we're going to be talking about at the last podcast of 2025?
If it's the last EuroLeague podcast, we're going to talk about...
last podcast of the 2025. Like 1 year from
next
now.
Year, yeah.
Oh, so after the EuroBasket, after everything's... the NBA Finals, EuroLeague, and...
I think... Abu Dhabi will be one of the topics.
Soulless Abu
and
Dhabi
it has
Final
to
Four.
be either super success or a tragedy,
How
disaster.
can it be a success? Like, what can be successful
That's the thing.
about
I just
it?
don't think there can be a middle ground.
Look,
The
good
final has to end on a game-winning buzzer beater.
Wait.
And,
so what does that have to do with Abu Dhabi? Good basketball teams can play good basketball on any court in any part of the world. But the atmosphere will be dead. It will be a soulless Final Four.
There will be Panathinaikos, Olympiacos, Fenerbahce, and somebody else.
But the
to create the
fans' experience
atmosphere.
is like, who the fuck travels to Abu Dhabi in May? What are they going to be like 50 degrees? So you're sitting in an air-conditioned hotel and travel to an air-conditioned arena venue with a shuttle.
You already paid over 1,000
There's
euros
no
for
fans
flight
on the
tickets.
streets, no fans marching through the streets to the arena, no atmosphere, no nothing. Super expensive. So the working class fan cannot afford to go to Abu Dhabi for a Final Four. So EuroLeague teams will make some money because they signed this deal. They sold the Final Four to Abu Dhabi. The basketball will be good because good basketball teams will be there playing on a basketball court. The same rules, the same everything that they have when they play in Europe. But in general, it's just a soulless Final Four, and that's it. I don't know how can it be good? Like, what needs to happen for me to sit here and say, wow, the Abu Dhabi Final Four was the best. Like, I up to this day, even though the final was amazing, France, Argentina, up to this day, I say that this Qatar World Cup was a nonsense. They played in summer, in winter, during the actual season. It was messed up. But the final was good because legendary players played good football on the pitch.
And the games before, I think, the semifinals were also amazing.
I mean, there's no... the quality was good, so the basketball quality would also.
But you remember that tournament, and you will probably remember that because of the great games that happened in the end.
So the quality has to overshadow all the.
But the quality has to be at an all-time.
Yeah, but
high.
I will not say that Abu Dhabi was great. I will say that Panathinaikos was great.
Yeah, but you would still say that Final Four was memorable because of
great
good games.
Basketball.
Yeah.
So I will not associate it
sure.
with Abu Dhabi. I will associate it with the teams that played and the coaches that played.
Okay, makes sense.
Yeah.
Of course, we're going to have one or two Cinderella stories in the EuroBasket, as always. Like 2022 EuroBasket was Germany's competition. Poland made the semifinals. Latvia in the World Cup. Paris Olympics, we had South Sudan story, some other stories. Yeah. So somebody will pop out.
I think it will be Paris makes Final Four, TJ gets MVP.
Okay.
Olympiacos wins the title after finally coming up short for multiple years. And for EuroBasket, I don't have a take. I don't know who is going to win, but...
I think also we're going to have the best Western Conference playoffs in a long time.
Ooh.
I mean, even last year it was good, but I think this season the competition will be insane. You could have like Game 7 series in the first round. I'm looking at the West and it's so stacked.
It will be a battle only to find out who gets beaten by a tireless Boston.
The best basketball team in the world right now, but who knows? Maybe Boston has an injury
in 5
or
games.
2.
Yeah,
for sure.
Anything can happen.
What do you think?
Is LeBron going to
play more?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's going to play
What do you
more.
mean? Do you think
Is he going to retire?
Nah.
No, not after this season.
Okay.
No.
Good.
I mean, this season he's playing even better than last year. He's not going to retire.
But we might find out in 2025 that he is going to retire after the next year.
I think definitely when LeBron decides to retire, it's going to be announced before the season, so he would have his farewell tour.
For sure.
On a live
it's
broadcast.
It's not going to be the Tim Duncan type of thing
Netflix stuff.
where the playoffs ended, Tim Duncan is gone, nowhere to be seen. A few weeks after, there's an email that Tim Duncan retired.
A fax.
Yeah, it's not going to be like that. It's going to be more of a Kobe farewell tour.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah,
especially if he's still playing for the Lakers. It's Lake Show for a reason.
Every game will be televised on national TV.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, guys. So
that's it for 2024?
Yeah. Have a great 2025, everyone.
Yeah.